3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hello and welcome back to another off-season episode of the Texas Private School Podcast. Y'all know the drill. As always, I am one-third of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson. Joining me today is Walker Lott from College Station and Ryan Schroeder. I'm assuming you're back in Frisco now. We're out of New Jersey.
Back in Frisco.
Nice. Let's go. I'd assume that you'd still hold that Texas is the better state than anything Northeast.
Yeah. That's got to be it. It's got to be it.
Has to be. You were actually, we'll give a little spoiler. Where were you? Where were you the past week?
Yeah, so I was at TABC tournament down in Duncanville, and I got to see a lot of good basketball this weekend. I got to see a lot of guys playing with their high school teams instead of their AAU teams. So,
no, it sounded like it. It's a really cool event. You'll be able to give us a recap of everything that happened. Speaking of events that we covered the past week, Walker, we took a little trip somewhere. Why don't you tell the people where we went?
Yeah, we went down to the Waco and went and watched TAPPS, the 7-on-7 state championships, and 6-on-6. But it was a great weekend. You know, we took it to, get a lot of photos, and hopefully those are out by now or will about to be out. You got some video that you saw on our Twitter. But, it was a big weekend to just meet a lot of y'all. And that was kind of what we took away from it. It was, hey, putting a name to a face and kind of meeting a lot of the guys because, schools down in San Antonio, Austin, we've never really seen before. We got the chance to come and sit and talk to y'all. So it was a really good weekend for us.
Oh yeah, it was so fun. That was my favorite part, even over like getting content and shooting things for the kids, was, shaking hands, talking to kids, dads, anyone that want to talk to us. It was a really fun and enjoyable experience. Did you get sunburned at all? I kind of got torched standing out there.
You see, I thought I got it bad like right around here. And then on the arms, my top of my arms were wider than were not as wide as the bottom of my arms. But it looks like I got a little tan, maybe a little bit. The light's not helping me out right now, but I got a little tan.
Dude, I'll just take a quick sidebar. Driving back from Waco, I literally I was so exhausted from being in the sun for like 6 hours. I had to pull over like in front of a gas station and take a 20-minute nap in Wixon Valley and just like conk out, dude. I was exhausted.
I want to say TAPPS put on a great event. So thank you, TAPPS, for doing that. It was a fantastic time. And I also want to thank them for putting on grass. If that was turf out there, it would be a whole different beast. But so I appreciate the grass. I really like that. But I came home afterwards and I literally just laid in bed and I just didn't do anything for the rest of the day. It was hard. So I couldn't even imagine what those kids went through who actually football out there. That's why we're retired, Wes. We don't do this anymore.
Oh no, you get at me like 5 years ago. I could have done all that. Now I don't know. I'm old, man. It would have been difficult. Speaking of shouting out TAPPS, I'd like to thank them for these very nice hats. Is that the hat you got on right now? Let's go. Yeah, they gave us, Ryan, I don't think we showed you this. We got these super nice hats. Dude, no lie. It's like legit one of my favorite hats now. Like it fits so well. It's not like they're paying us to say this, but the hat's actually dope. So thank you to TAPPS. It was super dope. Well, Ryan, you should come along to one of these events.
Yeah, no, I guess. Whatever. Getting cheaped out.
Come to more football stuff. No, we need you. We need you covering basketball.
Yeah.
But that being said, I don't think there's any better time to move straight into what we saw this weekend at the TAPPS 7-on-7 state championships in Waco. Who else to start with in the platinum bracket champion? Houston St. Thomas. They impressed us a lot, Walker. Probably not the team that we expected to wow us going in. We didn't know a whole lot about who they had. They were good last year, but they lose a lot of people. They lose Jake Wright. They lose
Cameron Price.
That's what I was thinking of. It seems to be a time of uncertainty for them, but good Lord, do they have some kids that impressed. I want to start off with Dante Lewis and I'll let you take it over. I remember we were standing on the sidelines talking to Houston St. Thomas's offensive coordinator. And we're like, hey, because Walker, you saw there were rotating 3 guys in the previous day. You were like, all right, who's going to play quarterback today? He was like, watch Dante. Kid's a 2-sport athlete. Just watch him play. And I literally, I couldn't shut up about watching the kid. He is so incredibly talented. You can tell he's a baseball player by the way he throws a football. That's not even a bad thing. It makes him that much better. He's an incredible talent. I think he might be the best quarterback in D1 this year. It'll be him and Sawyer Anderson, I think. I think that's going to be an incredibly interesting race. But Walker, what about Houston St. Thomas really stood out to you?
I mean, like, for the past couple of years, they just had a guy at the helm that just is dominant. Jake Wright last year, Maddox Kopp for a couple of years there too, who just was, they've just had dudes there, and that offense is so well for just 7-on-7, that the offensive scheme they have, they can go right into 7-on-7 and they just work it. And, Dante Lewis came in that state championship or the state game, I guess, of the bracket. And I mean, you texted me, you're like, hey, come here, you need to watch this kid. And I came over there. I was like, I see what he means. And not giving any credit to other guys on the team. Some guys that stood out, Tyler Day, Luke Edgecombe, Aaron Valentine looked good. But the guy that really stood out to me was 2024 wide receiver Larry Benton. He's very, very good and was a guy like, hey, you want me to throw it long, throw up and go get it. It was really, really impressive to watch. I mean, and he's only going to be a, junior. It's crazy that 24s are now juniors, but like,
don't talk about it.
I know, right? But yeah, he's still young. Junior year is kind of when your body gets into being like, hey, I'm an upperclassman. I'm ready to work in high school. And I mean, he looks the part, he plays the part, and I'm excited to see how that offense that always favors the wide receiver and quarterback position, does translate with those dudes at the helm. And also, we don't even get to see Johan Cardenas out there this weekend, who is, probably one of the best backs in TAPPS next year. And he wasn't even out there participating. So I'm guessing he was at camps and such, but I mean,
he's probably squatting 550 pounds somewhere.
Exactly. So like, he's fine, but adding him to that offense as that just dual threat, hey, run the ball out like just whatever he needs to do for the offense. That's a scary team. And probably, like we talked about, Wes, probably the best team in the South next year for sure.
I think it really could be. We were talking at George's after we got done, and we're like, I mean, that was central last year. Is there anyone else that you would come to mind? But I mean, I think that might open up kind of a black hole in the South. And I think that St. Thomas might be the team to come in and fill that this year. We'll see. But who else stood out to you from St. Thomas?
I mean, I think the defense, those linebackers were really good. I need to know the other guy's name, but like when he pairs with Tyler Day, those two linebackers were really good. And a guy who really looked at me, he reached out. And 2025 Grant Stewart at corner is one that is going to be one to watch going forward. The incoming sophomore looked really, really good and faced a lot of good outside receivers all day and really was really, really impressive. So he's for sure one to watch going forward.
I agree. It's funny. I was talking to, I was out there filming. I was right by Dante Lewis's father, Dion, and we were talking. He's like, yeah. I was like, your son's a heck of a player. He's like, yeah, but his real love's baseball. I was like, is there any way you can convince him to just like solely switch to football? Because holy crap, I want him just to play football and see how good he could get. But no, I mean, he's incredibly talented. St. Thomas, man, be on the lookout. I think this is going to be a big year for them. But transitioning to another team that I think is going to take a step up this fall is Austin St. Michael's. I mean, like you wrote here, Walker, they look incredibly good. They might be the best team in Austin. I'm going to say right now, I think they will be the best team in Austin. I do really think this is the year that they could take over where Regents has been traditionally. Kruger looked fantastic. I'll let Walker talk more about Xander Romero and Malachi Smith. Those guys made play after play the entire day. I watched them Saturday. They went up and got balls that I didn't think it was possible to catch. But I mean, Walker, talk more on what you saw from Kruger, Romero, and Malachi Smith.
I mean, Kruger, I believe coming from Westlake, right? He had two fantastic targets in Esparza and Marlin last year, and Romero and Malachi. So their weapons were there, and you saw the stats to put it up, and he had the guys. And then you kind of see this year, right? He's improved on his game a lot, and you see just the technique that's there. I mean, and he's calm, cool, collected. But when it's time to play, he's ready to play, gets his guys ready to go. And just the throws he makes sometimes are really, really pretty. And it's really, really impressive. He has a great ball. And then giving it to his guys like Xander Romero and Malachi Smith. Xander Romero might have been the bet, like my MVP of the weekend, man. That play, the plays he made against St. Thomas in that state game, and also against Liberty in the second round, maybe. But very, very good plays, man. I mean,
Bro, that
off.
one ball he went up and got at the end, he literally just postered that kid. And he's like laying on the floor and he sits up and he just does the head top, dude. I think you can probably hear me like scream in the background of that video. I lost my mind.
Oh, without a doubt. And, having him as a slot is going to be so crucial because you saw none of those linebackers that in middle guys for St. Thomas could really catch up with them.
No,
he's too shifty. And Malachi, on the other hand, right? Malachi is a guy that, mostly is like their main running back. So he'll play more of the running back role for St. Michael, sorry. But he can get out wide, juke some dudes out, and also play corner for them as well. So like he can do both. I'm going to guess he plays both ways this year. Same with Xander probably. But both guys are going to be some big time weapons for Carson this year. I'm really excited to see it happen.
Yeah, and no, transitioning to something that actually was surprising to us. Joe Moreland is no longer going to be with Austin St. Michael's. I mean, Walker, that's a huge deal for St. Michael's. But we mentioned there is talent that is going to be coming in behind him. What do you think this move for Moreland is going to mean for, first of all, Joe Moreland, and second of all, Austin St. Michael's? Because we love the kid.
Oh yeah, Joe Moreland's a great dude. His family is really great, and we wish him nothing the best. But yeah, Joe Moreland probably was going to be the best player in Austin next year, without a doubt. Of like the Austin private schools, he was going to be that guy. So that is a big loss for St. Michael's. But a guy who's coming up who really impressed me and Wes was 2025 athlete Jason Stokes. He is for sure, put your name down, one to watch going forward. I'm putting, I said 2 years ago about Enow and look at him now. I'm not saying he could be this, but Jason Stokes was explosive. He was going to be an incoming sophomore and was cooking some corners all day long. There was times that you just saw him make one move and he's past the corner and, Kruger was looking to the other side of the field, just didn't see it. But he made play after play after play. Hey, throw it up when you need him. He's there. He's that type of guy. And he also, Esparza and Moreland played safety for the St. Michael's last year. He plays safety too. And he just is back there making plays too. I like this kid, man. I like him, Wes. I like this kid.
He's going to be real good. I do think you could have, the big three skill players in Romero, Smith, and Stokes next year for Austin St. Michael's. I really do think you can have that. And you add Kruger into the mix. I think St. Michael's is going to be the best team in Austin. I really will hang my hat on that. I think they're going to be incredibly good.
And I also isn't it also that wasn't Stokes this was one of his first weeks back into the team?
It was.
And Kruger they haven't found that rhythm yet. And if that's not with rhythm between them two, I mean, what's going to be when they have that rhythm together in the fall?
No, that's going to be insane. Ryan, I mean, we just spoke a lot. You have any thoughts on St. Thomas and St. Michael's? I know you weren't there this past weekend, but we really think they could enter into the best teams in the South and their respective divisions. What do you think?
I'm glad y'all got to see some Southern teams. I mean, obviously we don't get to see a lot of Southern teams. Y'all see more than I do because y'all go to A&M, but I'm interested to see how Austin St. Michael does this year. Hope they, basically make it so that Division II becomes more of not just a northern side, right? We want this to be more of a balance. So
I want to give a big shout out to Coach Scales. Ryan, Walker, I know you've met him and talked to him before. This is my first time to meet him. He's a super good guy. He is the D-line coach and the recruiting coordinator in St. Michael's. I have that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, no, super good dude. Just super good to meet him. Really wanted to give him a shout out on the podcast. But that concludes our talk about.
Pause.
What else?
Co-defensive coordinator.
Co-defensive. I was gonna say that, and I wasn't sure, so I omitted it. But I'm glad you brought it up. Co-defensive coordinator, Coach Scales.
There you go.
There we go. But that actually will conclude our talk on St. Michael's and the Southern teams. Now we talk about a team that perennially has the talent, but maybe not the cohesion. Fort Worth Christian. They looked like they had talent this week. Walker, I'm gonna let you take it away and say what you saw from FWC.
I mean, we've said it last week. We said it last season. Fort Worth Christian's always going to have the dudes and, guys to watch next year. Jordan Green, the tight end, Jacob Trimble, the wide receiver, the Mr. Do-It-All, Luke Anderson, and 2025 Hogan Nelson. Those are the guys pretty much will be the guys that, hey, if you want Fort Worth Christian to be successful, those are the guys that are going to have to do it. And, they went 2-2 at 2-2 in pool play, beat TWCA in the first round of the bracket, and then had a rough one where it was just not their day against St. Thomas. But end of the day, in third place and with a win over Liberty, they have the guys, they have the players. It's going to be interesting to see if the cohesion comes together and they put it together on the field. Because, they've always been a good 7-on-7 team. They have the dudes. But, when the big guys come in and you have all the front seven, how are they going to look there too? It's going to be very, very interesting to see how they do next year.
I agree. I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. What do you think we're going to see for Christian this next year? I know it's impossible to gauge like the correlation between their talent level and their cohesion, but do you think this is a team that can overcome the hump and really go back to competing in D2?
I mean,
in a stacked North too.
I just pulled up their schedule. So they have Dublin the first game. I don't know about that. Bishop Dunn, they should win. Grace Prep, they should win. Italy, they should win. Grapevine Faith is going to be an interesting game. And Dallas Christian back-to-back is going to be very, very two tough games. Argyle Liberty, I mean, they have the dudes. They should win. Midland, I mean, they're young, but you never know. I don't know if they can get over the hump of SES this year, and I don't think they can beat All Saints. I think they're a good squad. It's going to be interesting to see, can they get over the hump that like they couldn't really do last year? Can they get over the hump this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be really interesting. I do want to mention, I don't know if Dunn is a guaranteed win. I'm going to be honest with you. I say that I've seen some guys and I've heard that Dunn has some more talent coming in. They're reloading a little bit. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were like last year. I've watched tape on some guys that have come into Blinn. I just say this to say,
Jeremiah Horn, the running back for Dunn, is a dog, man, and
Facts.
So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how good he is with a lot of some other guys I've seen here and there.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I mean, I can't say what I'm going to see because I don't know, but we will see coming into this next year primarily more than anything, if FWC is going to be able to compete at the level that their talent indicates. Moving forward, Argyle Liberty, head coach Jason Witten of Argyle Liberty. Walker, you got swarmed by Liberty players, and Jason Witten had to call off the dogs. What happened there this weekend?
Oh, I mean, I just it wasn't a successful season for them last year, of course, and they could tell you that, of course, but you can see in the year 2 under Witten as they're headed in the right direction. Have the juniors that are now going to be seniors and the other guys, you're now going to be fully under Witten. They didn't have last year's coach or anything like that with them. It's their guys and it's Witten's dudes now. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. They have a lot of skill guys. They've always had a really good skill guys. The front seven is going to be the interesting thing to see. All right, who's going to protect their quarterback in Jacob Vaughn, who I think me and Wes said probably one of the best quarterbacks on the weekend this week. Really, really impressive. We came away like, I haven't seen him play before, but he's got it. I mean, he is a really, really good player. I think a D1 program should for sure go after him and try to get his signature. I think he's a great, great player. I think he showed that this weekend in competing against some of the better teams in TAPPS D1 and D2. So him at the helm. All right, who do you have around him? You have guys like who really stood out to me. One of them was seeing 2025 Quinn Brown. I've never seen him before. And just saw him on Twitter, stuff like that. But, in person, he's shifty. He's quick, made a lot of really good plays, and he's going to be one to watch to be maybe one of Jacob's big-time targets next year. And overall, a good squad, had a great week, went 4-0 in pool play, that beat Midland Christian, I believe, in the first round, and then, lost in a chippy game with St. Michael's.
Ooh, that was
very, very, very chippy. But good game. Ended with the result of losing to Fort Worth Christian, but still a good weekend for Liberty, and it's in the right direction. I'm very, very impressed coming away from that a couple of days and being like, hey, they got the guys, they're heading in the right direction. So I'm going to give them their flowers. I'm going to give them their props. But, as it always says, this is 7-on-7. This is not the real game. We're going to see how they do in the regular season because they have a couple guys who really, really impressed me. Hey, how are they going to do in season?
Speaking of St. Michael's, are they St. Migos now? Have you been seeing that? Have you? Because I heard the one guy yelling it. And now I see it all over Twitter. What is Saint Migos? The Migo. If we're talking about like Offset, Quavo, and Takeoff, I think the Migos are dead. I don't know what's. Do you know what that's about?
No, I have no idea, but I think I've seen it before, but I have no idea where you're going with this.
I know. I'm just curious. I don't know what Saint Migos is. I don't know how I guess Saint Migos sounds like Saint Michael's. It's something that I thought was interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of like old man yells at cloud me. I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, you sound really old saying that. You sound so old. You're like, anyone know what that Saint Migos means?
Listen, dude, I'm a 21-year-old with a 86-year-old's mind. Well, I'm just saying it doesn't make sense.
Do they just do ad libs the whole time and just go, "Mama"? And then,
yeah. Every time they catch the ball.
I'm saying that because the Migos were like big when we were in high school, but I think they're literally like broken up now. Sorry, it's a whole
that's
rabbit
a good
hole.
Rant. That's a good rant. Yeah,
it's a good sidebar to break the episode into half. But yeah, anyway, Saint Migos. Somebody please explain to me what that's about. I know Malachi, Xander, Carson, someone's watching it. Please explain to me what Saint Migos means. Moving on, Grace Prep. They look dominant. They won the gold bracket 46-20 over Lubbock Christian, a good Lubbock Christian team. I mean, Jalen Talton's that dude. I mean, we've known that. We saw it last season. We expect it coming into this season. We talked to the kid for like 10 minutes at 7-on-7. I mean, he's a really good kid. I'm really excited to watch him into this season. But talking about this weekend, I mean, Walker, what did you think of Jalen Talton and Grace Prep winning the gold bracket?
I mean, it was really good. They beat Brazos Christian for 33-26, beat McKinney 41-35, and then beat Lubbock in the state championship, I guess, 46-20. Killed those dudes, bro. I mean, straight like that. And like, I don't know. I would have to think about it for a second, but I really do think Jalen Talton might be the best quarterback in TAPPS D3 this year. I'm going to put it out there. I think he is.
So I'll play devil's advocate. Who is he going up against in D3?
I would say Bax Townsend is one of them. I would say.
I thought didn't LC move down to D4?
Oh, they might have. Yeah, never mind.
They did. Yeah.
Of course, our guy over at DC, Luke Carney. Luke Carney would be.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Luke Carney would be in that conversation. TAPPS D3. I mean, Marcus Ramon technically plays quarterback because he just hands the ball off to him.
That's a good point.
I don't know who Covenant has. I don't know anyone like over there. But
that's the question though. Is he better than Bax?
Well, I think so. I say it like this: 7-on-7 is when you prove to see quarterback. Hey, who's the better quarterback? That's how you see it in TAPPS. Is 7-on-7. Who has the skill guys? Who has the quarterback? And I think Jalen Talton beat him 46-20. So I think that cements himself as the better quarterback. So that's how I see that. But yeah, anyways, I think, we always have said Dallas Christian has been the one that is going to run D3. Grace Prep's going to be one to watch. We said it last time. Grace Prep's going to be the interesting one because not just they have Jalen Talton, they have Caleb Mathis on the outside, Caden Lay, who we both like, Alex St. Julian. I think he's a really good running back, and they have a couple of younger guys that are going to be really good. So they're going to be one to watch. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I will say we have kind of taken it as a foregone conclusion that DC is just going to roll through Division III without any opposition. The more I think about it, I mean, Grace Prep is the one rock standing in the way of the train that is Dallas Christian. It's the one rock on the tracks. And, I talked to the guys at Grace Prep. I talked to the dads about this last year. I mean, we raved about them all year, and then they disappeared in the playoffs. TCS bounced them like that. We said that Grace Prep was far and away the best team in D3 last year. It's just a matter of no matter how well they do in the regular season this year, can they perform in the playoffs? And that's going to be a huge test if they draw DC relatively early. So we're going to see. I really don't know. I do think that Grace Prep is the one obstacle in the way of Dallas Christian this year. If either of y'all think that is incorrect, I would love to hear it.
I was going to say if they draw Marcus Ramon Edwards again, then they're going to be struggling. I mean, think about it. Yeah. That's the team they lost to last year. If they can't learn from what happened last year, Grace Prep has so much talent. Grace Prep has so much talent. But if you can't get past Marcus Ramon Edwards, then what happens? I mean, that's the guy that's standing in your way. It's like one guy.
I did forget who's going to be the quarterback down in Cyprus will be Maxwell Landrum. He is a
that
guy
is true.
that will be the only other guy I think that can compete. But I mean, in that Division 3, I think it's going to be interesting to see who Pantego rolls out with, because they're losing a couple guys, but they have some younger guys. And I think they have some transfers coming in at quarterback. And Covenant, I guess we can officially say Christian Wells is leaving Covenant and going to Southwest Christian. I mean, he said it on his Twitter. Now it's in his bio, so it's official. So Colleyville loses their superstar versatile player.
Right.
Who's going to replace that? So, and that's a big pickup for SES. So we can say that down the line for when we do our things. But Colleyville is going to lose their quarterback kind of last year. But they have Rhett Renteriera coming back, I believe.
They're going to lose their everything. He played like every position on the field besides defensive end and offensive guard. I mean, Lord. But yeah, it's going to be huge to see. And I think he's just going to be Tyson. He's going to fill that exact role like we talked about that Tyson filled the last few years for SCS. But again, like you said, we'll mention that. We'll mention that down the line in our episode or in our division previews. But yeah, there's a lot of shakeup in TAPPS if you haven't noticed. LCS, I mean, we saw Bax Townsend. I mean, we both agree that he looked very good. It was unfortunate he ran into Grace Prep in the championship. Walker, you have anything else to add on LCS and Bax?
No, I'm just happy I finally got to see him. I mean, he's up in Lubbock, so we never get to see him play. But really good player, really good teams. They're gonna lead. They're not gonna have the Lack brother and Carson Leatherwood. They're not gonna have those two receivers because I believe they're both 22s. Could be wrong. But it's going to be interesting to see who steps up for Lubbock Christian next year for TAPPS D4.
I was going to say, does that pose the question, does the fall of Shiner happen with Lubbock coming in?
I think, okay. Lubbock Christian, moving on. I think the team that we're going to talk about next is one to watch in TAPPS D4 going in the North.
That's a good point. I will say to this point, I think recency bias is a big thing. Looking at 7-on-7 results, man, like, oh, well, they could be better than Shiner. Shiner is a dadgum powerhouse. Shiner has just rattled off 4 straight state championships. I do like the speculation whether it could be the fall. We have to be very, very hesitant before we even consider that. I still think they are far and away the favorites this year in D4. But Walker, you bring up a good point with Weatherford. Go on with that. Go on with that discussion.
Sorry, the lights were flashing around me. But okay, going behind me, the gold bracket, I guess. What was it? What consolation champions were Weatherford Christian? Weatherford Christian stood out to me. I think they're one to watch. 4-0 in bracket play or pool play, and then went and won the gold consolation bracket championship. They're going to be in the North in TAPPS D4 next year. So they're going to have to play the lines of Munster, Sacred Heart, Lubbock Christian, and those lot. But some dudes, they have dudes, bro. They have dogs. And this is, if you ever seen Pat McAfee show, you say a name and you go, what? This is what I'm saying. They got 2024 quarterback Hunter McCoy, 2023 running back Ezra Jackson, 2023 Braden Bork, who was one that stood out to me, is going to come from Weatherford Christian or Weatherford High School, the Zoos, the Roos. Apologies, the Kangaroos.
That's who Ryan thought we were talking about the first time we mentioned Weatherford.
Yes, the Kangaroos. But
yeah.
But he was their starting running back or something like that over there. And now he's coming to Weatherford Christian as a good player. And 2 guys who I think will make the difference because, there's not a lot of big guys in TAPPS D4, of course. And some of the guys that were very, very impressive is Blaine Carter and Braden Carter, the 22 big men, play kind of like a linebacker receiver, just bigger than everyone else and just play that role. I think if you get them in the run game, I think those guys are going to be very, very hard to just stop. And on the defensive side of the ball, playing like a linebacker or like a defensive end for those dudes, that's disgusting. First of all, that's going to be very hard for anyone to stop in TAPPS D4. One that really stood out to me was the freshman over there, 2026 wide receiver, Brody Clark. It was very, very impressive. Yeah, I know. 2026.
Yeah, wait, what age did you just say? 2026?
He will be an incoming freshman this year for Weatherford Christian, but was one of the freshmen out there and stood out. Basically, like he was a really good receiver. Hunter needed to throw it up. He caught it. He's a very good receiver and will be a major impact guy, even as a freshman over there at Weatherford Christian.
I'm old.
Too young.
I'm old, dude.
Existential crisis. You know what? I'm just going to fully accept this and launch into another old man rant. We got to stop the Pitt Vipers in 7-on-7. It's a cancer. We have to get rid of the Pitt Vipers. It is a national epidemic. It needs to go. I'm sorry. I understand. I did the same type of things when I played. We had the headbands, we had the swag, we rolled up our shorts. Pitt Vipers are a completely different level of cancer. It is horrible.
All right, sir, old man Wes.
Yeah, old man.
What is the appropriate amount of swag for 7-on-7? What is the
I don't have any problem with swag. I went to the Adidas State Championships when I was a sophomore. If you don't think I was decked out in armbands, neon gear, all that, flex. It's just that was the point of that, but it's just the Pitt Vipers are so bad. It's not just that in football. I just see them all the time. Like when people are at prom, it's just Pitt Vipers in situations that sunglasses should not be, period. And it's the fact that it's Pitt Vipers.
Devil's advocate, are you just salty because you cannot rock them?
I haven't considered that. Again, like I said, this is probably just some like knee-jerk reaction to me like getting old. And
I will say I'm not. I've never thought about, hey, let me wear Pitt Vipers.
Yeah,
I've never had that thought.
Someone buy Wes some Pitt Vipers. If Wes comes to see one of your games this year, buy him some Pitt Vipers.
If one of you give me a pair of Pitt Vipers, I don't care what kind they are. I'll wear them for a whole episode. I promise you. I mean, that's just because I know nobody's going to give me a pair of Pitt Vipers because they're garbage. So I got to stop getting on this subject. Anyways, Weatherford Christian looked really good. We were really excited to see them. Congratulations to Weatherford Christian, the consolation bracket runners up, something like that. Northland Christian, he's going to be senior quarterback Stone Walker. Where have you been, brother? I don't know how we haven't seen this guy yet. I don't know if he just transferred in. He's like 6'3", 6'4". He throws a beautiful football. I guess we just now saw him. Walker, we found his Twitter. You said he looks like he's more of a baseball guy. I looked at his huddle. It's only got like 60 views on his tape. This kid could be a college player. I really do think. I mean, what did you think of Stone Walker in the limited time we had to watch him?
Oh, I was very, very impressed. I don't know where this guy came from. Don't know who he is, but very, very good. I honestly think like in 2023 quarterbacks, I mean, I would have to look at the list again, but man, he would have to be up there, right? Like he was throwing dimes out there and it was very, very, very impressive. And I had no idea who this kid was, but he stood out, showed out, shined. And man, I think that's a diamond in the rough for any quarterback, any college out there. Stone Walker is a real deal. And he stands at 6'4", 6'3", tall, lanky, can throw the ball. And I mean, you put him any other school in Houston, I think he could be a dominant player.
I agree. And it's not just that he has the frame to be a college quarterback. I think he has the talent as well. So it's a guy that I think colleges should pick up on. If there's any college coach watching that needs a quarterback for their program, Stone Walker, Northland Christian, class of 23, you need to check him out. So moving on, San Antonio Holy Cross. It was great to see Gibby Alvarado. We followed him pretty closely. Rudy Rodriguez also impressed there. You got anything to say about the Holy Cross boys, Walker?
I mean, they've always had a couple guys who really stands out, and Gibby and Rudy will be the guys next year to see if any San Antonio school can really make that mark, and they might be those guys down there. They're going to lose Marcus Jimenez-Cedillo, Amir Ali, a couple big-time dudes over there, but we'll see how they can do next year, and very, very impressive.
Oh, yeah, no, I think they have the talent to make some noise going forward. And the last team we'll mention individually, I think, is Kincaid. They were actually at the TAPPS state championships, even though they're an SBC school. Both David Capobianco and Micah Bell look very impressive to me. You know, the usual suspects. Capo, I think, is going to be very good this next year. And I don't have to say anything about Micah. I mean, everyone that follows football recruiting that much knows who Micah Bell is. And we were commenting about him. He looks talented. You can just see the freak athleticism when he runs down the field. He is the real deal.
I mean, 100%. I mean, Mike, like we said last week, or I believe a week ago, Micah Bell will be the best player probably in SPC next year, without a doubt. And it's just a very impressive guy. I mean, it's going to be Capo, I think, will be probably one of the top 24 quarterbacks, him and Turner Murdoch at Second Baptist. So Houston will have the guys in quarterback in the 24 class. But man, very, very. Oh, and also Capo, Turner, and also now the guy from Shadow Creek now at St. Thomas. Very
Oh,
good
yeah.
24 class in Houston. But yeah, very, very impressive for Kincaid to be at SBC. Cool. Come on, see how they compete and, held their own for a bit.
For reference, a guy from Shadow Creek, Dion Lewis, like we mentioned about 30 times previously in the episode. He's very talented. We're very excited to see him. But so, Walker, we'll cover this more when we get to our SBC 4A preview. But what do you think about how Kincaid's going to fare in that division with the rise of Bel Air Episcopal and all the guys they're getting in?
I mean, I think it's going to be I like I said last episode, I think Bel Air might be the team to win SBC 4A. I mean, it's just that's going to be a hard task. So for some of the guys they're bringing in, and a lot of the younger guys who were decent last year, they're just going to have another year under their belt. So Episcopal is probably my team to beat next year. But I mean, Micah Bell and David Bianco is not going to go down lightly. And, like I said, Micah's going to be the best player in SBC 4A. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to go down without swinging, So
No,
they're going to put up a fight for sure.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, and make sure you stick around. We're going to be doing division previews for all of the TAPPS divisions and both the SBC divisions in the following weeks leading up to the season. So make sure you stay tuned. You will hear us break down basically every district of every division of TAPPS and SBC moving forward. We're very excited to take that on. But that actually concludes all of our 7-on-7 content. So now we're going to pass the rock off to the Texas private school basketball guy, Ryan Schroeder. Ryan, you were at the TABC this past week. Who'd you see? Who impressed you? And what teams are you looking out for?
Man, I got a lot of guys that I saw this weekend. I mean, I have almost like a pages full of guys that I wanted to go see. I got to see some guys. I got to learn about some guys I didn't even know. It was actually just a really good experience. I want to shout out the TABC real quick. This is the second annual tournament they've put on for this. This is such a great tournament. It's one of the best that I think ideas that you could ever have had. The fact that they were able to align with UIL, TAPPS, SBC, and also with all the AAU circuits to kind of be like, all right, we're going to take this off week in the middle of June where all these guys would normally be playing AAU, and we're going to make them go play with their high school teams. I think that's a really cool thing. And then they also just made it this year that the high school coaches could coach the teams. If you wanted to know what schools were there, think about every single college Division I team that you can think of, and they were there in the state of Texas and Oklahoma and everywhere else. They were all there, and they were all watching the players, some of the players playing in the main gym, and there was just everybody, coaches everywhere. It's a perfect event. But let's get into it. So the main one that everybody's going to talk about, because it's the guys that had the most, most hoopla about them, or whatever you want to say. The guys that were talked about the most was JP2, and they lose the three great players that we have heard about. Gabe Warren is gone now. He's going to SoCal Academy in Southern California. Liam McNeely is another big one. Number 2 in the class of 2024, USA kid. He's been on the top of the map. He was a huge star for JP2, a transfer from JJ Pierce. He is now gone to Montverde Academy in Florida. So, that's a hard one to lose. And then you got RJ Jones, the number 4 in the class of 2023 in Texas, to Wasatch Academy. So you're losing 3 guys, 2 of them ranked in the top 5 and the top 4 in the state of Texas. It's really, really hard to lose types of guys like this in, the private school area. Cause you feel like, you had so much talent and then they all kind of leave. It sucks. However, they brought JP2 reloaded immediately. They bring in 2024 Bryson McLaughlin and 2024 Nathan Davis. 2 guys that immediately were putting on a show for JP2. I got Bryson McLaughlin's numbers right here. Bryson McLaughlin, in the 3 games that he played, he dropped 20, 15, and 17 while having 7, 5, and 10 rebounds in those games. He's being super, super efficient in the way he plays already for JP2. And it's kind of funny. You thought they're going to go away. They're not going anywhere. They just keep on building up. And the fact that these guys are 24s and are only going to be juniors this next year, I mean, JP2 will never go away. So we move on to Prestonwood, one of the rivals in that same division. in that same district, I should say, is basically what we thought. They're going to lose Vinny Segonia. We didn't know what was going to happen with Prestonwood, and they got a transfer in from Lone Star High School, Mr. Jalen Shelley. He's a 6'7", 2024, ranked number 4 in the state of Texas for the class of 2024. And it was a really, really good pickup for Prestonwood. Reminds me of the days where, they brought in like Julius Randle and they started playing, some of the best basketball, where it reminds me of the prime of Prestonwood when they were going to state championships in basketball and state championships in football in the same years and stuff like that. This is the Prestonwood that we remember. Jalen Shelley was incredible. He was able to put up numbers. I will say that they didn't. I don't feel like they were able to use. They're so new to each other. Like Prestonwood is new to Jalen Shelley, and the guys haven't all played together yet. I feel like once they have a little more time to get their chemistry together, that will be probably what's going to be great for the whole team. Oh, something I should have mentioned, and I'll go through right now. So this is how everybody fared this weekend. I'm just going to read these out really, really quick. Thank you, Lone Star Christian Sports Network, LSCSN, our friends of the podcast and the show. We actually really support these people, and I was so thankful because they got the whole win-loss records right here. So I'm just going to read these out. The guys that went 3-0 were Houston St. Francis, Houston St. Thomas. Guys that went 2-1 are Dallas Jesuit, Houston Straight Jesuit. 2-1 as well were McKinney Christian Academy, Plano John Paul II, Woodlands Christian, and Tom Ball Concordia Lutheran. 1-2 was Austin St. Michael's, Fort Worth Christian, Houston St. Thomas Episcopal, Lubbock Trinity Christian, Midland Christian, Trinity Christian Addison. 0-2 is Brentwood Christian. 0-3 was Annapolis Christian Academy, Argyle Liberty Christian, Dallas Parish, Dallas St. Mark's, Fort Worth Known Catholic, Houston Episcopal, Houston St. John's, and Plano Prestonwood. So you see 0-3 Prestonwood. I just think this team could be really, really good in the winter. And guys, just like we said for 7-on-7, this isn't the basketball and football you're going to see in the fall and the winter. We don't know how these teams are going to fare come a couple months. So they also brought in Donovan Lovelace. He's a 2023 6'8" forward/wing, huge guy. And then they brought in Bryson Melvin. He's a 2025. Some guys I don't think I remember seeing last year. They could have been on that team, but a lot of guys on the Prestonwood team that I'm excited to see this next season with how they put out their big three. Another team, St. Michael's, they have another guy ranked in the top in the state of Texas. 2023, Mashai Hill. He's a 6'8", great player in my opinion. I did not get to see him, but I saw a lot of highlights of him. He kind of skipped me this weekend, but I wanted to include him because he is one of the other ranked players. He's ranked number 19 in the state of Texas, and he has offers. He's a 3-star. He has offers from Houston, SMU, or Roberts. A guy to mention, and a guy that I think I'm going to be excited to see St. Michael's how they'll do this year with Mashai at the forefront. A guy that stood out to me, I didn't get to see him play, but oh my gosh, I saw him on Twitter like 20 times this weekend. Jacob Hudson, he's a 6'4" combo guard, 2023, 31-point game he had. But the thing that I saw was his block on Twitter that he goes up and pins it against the backboard. I'm calling him right now before anybody else does. A guy that probably hasn't had a lot of offers come his way. Jacob Hudson's going to get offers coming in. I'm telling you right now. Concordia Lutheran, Jacob Hudson, 6'4" guard. I want him to play a little more AAU ball this summer, but I can guarantee you that Jacob Hudson's going to get some offers. Are you kidding me? 31 points in this tournament. Yeah.
So I watched him play 2 games at the state championship for Lutheran. He is good. I mean, he just straight up is good. That's all I have to say. I completely agree that I think he will have offers rolling his way this year.
This kid's nuts. And, and I'm ready to see him take off. So Jacob Hudson, although I didn't get to see you, I've just saw everything on Twitter. So Grapevine Faith, a player that a team that I was wanting to see. I'm glad I saw Jackson Pierce, 2024, is the guy that's built to play at the next level. He's a guy that I equate to Tyler Lumblade, who was their star back when I was in high school. He played at SMU, and now he plays at TCU. he's definitely that same size. He's definitely plays the same way as Tyler Lundblade. I'd be happy to see if he turns into a guy like Tyler Lundblade. Grapevine Faith loves the three. I don't think that's any more obvious than it has been for the past few years. Matt Saman, or Coach Saman, loves to run the three ball there. He always has, and I think they're going to keep doing that. Guy to mention, Grant Rain is back from his injury that he had last season. He got to play it the first time this weekend. And it's awesome to see that he came back from his injury and he's getting into his senior year. A guy I did not know the name of before this weekend, Andrew Brewster. He was a stud. He scored 28 points in the first game that I saw him play. I didn't get to see a lot of him. I saw the second game, but I didn't know all what he did. But he had 28 points with 8 threes made. I was like, what? Who's making 8 threes in a basically shortened version of an AAU tournament style? I'm like, this is nuts. He played absolutely insane. It was so funny. I didn't take a picture of him after the game because I didn't know that he was the one that scored all 8 3-pointers. He kind of threw me off, but yeah, Andrew Brewster, you're a stud, dude. Can't wait to see Grapevine Faith and how they do this year. McKinney Christian, the champs from last year, who I had wrong, who I thought was going to be Woodlands. McKinney Christian comes back again with Bobby McWard. They lose Josh Thrower, and they lose a couple of guys like Zeke Long, some guys that added some value for this team. They have lost this year, but that's okay. They're still going to be a good team. Bobby played as best he could with not a lot of guys on his team. I think they only were able to put 5 or 6 guys together to play. So great with what he did with those guys. He led his team to 2-1 this weekend. And that's just impressive as it is. It's impressive to go 2-1, knowing that a team that McKinney Christian is losing a lot of guys. So,
dude, Bobby's cold. I watched him too at the state championships. He is that dude. He's very good.
I'm excited to see how Bobby does. I'm glad he got to be seen by some D1s this weekend. He deserved it for sure.
Yeah, I think he has the talent level I think he could be D1. He's really good.
So we move on to Bel Air Episcopal, the team that went 29-6 in the 2021-2022 season. They won the SBC championship over Green Hill, the Green Hill team that had studs on that team, that had 2 guys that are going to play at Vanderbilt this year. I was really, this is the one I got wrong. I got the SBC wrong because Bel Air upset at Green Hill in the championship. Guys that I saw play were Justin Begg, Jaquil Registy, I don't know if I said that right, Regisay, and Jaden Holt. 2 2024s and 2025 and Jaden Holt. It was impressive to see how they played. I'm really excited to see they got put up against a really hard matchups for some reason. I guess it's because they won the SBC, and so the TABC was like, all right, we're just going to put them up against some of the hardest teams. They played a 5A Mansfield Legacy with a guy that's gone like a guy that's basically running the scene, getting offers from top D1s and a bunch of other guys that were. It didn't seem very unfair. It seemed a little unfair with how they were put up against in that tournament. But I'm excited to see them play. I got to see them play. I got to see Justin, got to see Jaquil and Jaden. So let's hope the Triple J boys can do well this season in the SBC. Oh, please do not quote me on that. Gosh, that is a horrible name. But SBC talk, I'll just go into this real quick. Green Hill, that team that had Noah Shelby and Lee Dort, now that they're out the door and on their way to Vanderbilt, Green Hill loses 2024 Micah Robinson, who's got a bunch of D1 offers as well. He goes to join Gabe Warren at SoCal Academy out in California, obviously. So kind of stinks having him gone as well. Another really talented guy in TAPPS or SBC private school that's gone. So that's a hard guy to lose for Green Hill. And I feel like Green Hill, after losing their 2 guys going Power 5 and Micah Robinson, I think this is where you kind of see the fall of Green Hill. If I had to make a guess. Another SBC team, St. Mark's, they lose their lengthy, absolutely just 4. He's like a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". I mean, he might as well be 6'10". Tate Laczowski, he reclassified to be 2023. I think he was 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I think he reclassified 2023, and now he's going to go play at Massachusetts Prep School. And he's got D1 offers as well from Boston College, Georgetown, Stanford, and Cal. So Tate's doing what's best for his his basketball career, and I respect that. St. Mark's has been a team that has not found the success to go to the championship. So I'm excited to see what he can do for that prep school. TCA Addison, a team that I was like, what? I was like, this team's nuts. Blake Mushalek. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Looks right.
He is a guy that I'm really impressed by. 2023, 6'3" guard. He's going to be the stud for them. He was putting out, I think, 20, 30 point games. I have to check the scorecard again, but I mean, he was an absolute stud for them. And I'm super excited to see what he can do for TCA Addison. And then obviously Gur Dillon is the one we put the video out about. He's a 2024, 6'6", big, the guy that dominated down low, very effective rebounder. And he was just backing down guys. If you saw the video at all on the basketball Twitter page, you just know that this guy was just a force. So Blake and Gur this season are going to go insane. I am excited to see what TCA Addison does. Look out for Blake and Gur. They're going to be the boys. And with a name like Gur, you hope he would be like that. With a name like Gur, you would hope he'd be like Gur. So, and then I have to talk about this. So Woodlands Christian was my favorite for what's called 5A last year. And Austin Benini got hurt. Chance Perkins did what he did. And so basically this team has now lost Chance Perkins and Austin Benini. Chance is now at Army. Austin's at Navy. They're kind of like, heading downward, I think, at least. But a guy that I saw, because I wanted to see them play, Josh Bento, he's a 2023. Josh is a guy that I think, is very, very effective for this Woodlands team. I don't know if he's good enough to push them over the hump. The first 4 shots of the game that were made by Woodlands Christian as they're trailing the team that they were playing were all 3-pointers made by Josh. No one else on the team could put a bucket in could put a ball in the basket. So I think Josh needs some help from what I saw. But yeah, I don't know if this Woodlands team is quite at the scale of what they were with Austin Benini. Obviously, I was very high on Austin Benini, so it's very sad to see that this team is kind of transformed into what it is now. And I hope that Josh Bento can make a name for this Woodlands team and hope they can get a run this year. And that's kind of my summary. I mean, I think you've gotten a lot out of this year. Got to learn a lot about the guys that have gone in and out of TAPPS and SBC, and maybe some guys that have kind of gone to be some stars this year. And hopefully we see some teams, excel this year, that some teams that we didn't see last year. I think this is finally the year where we're going to have a lot of even surfaces. One thing I was going to say, with the whole switch up of just like it is football, division and districts are going to go up, or division and districts have been switched just like football. So that means that McKinney Christian has gone down to D3 or go to 4A and D3. So that's something to note, that McKinney Christian will now play rivals with Grace Prep. I think that's interesting.
It will be nice,
because that was a rivalry that we saw kind of like happen at Christmas time last year, but they didn't play in the same 5A and 4A. And then now you're going to see this Prestonwood team loaded with guys go up against this JP2 team. And I'm excited about that. I think it's finally time that we get some 6A madness that's a little bit more even leveled. So, and then I'm excited to see Concordia Lutheran. This is going to be a great year for basketball. No more super teams. When I make my predictions this year, it's going to be a lot harder. I'm excited to see how everything turns out. And yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Basketball, football season. I'm ready for all of it.
Yeah, no, I think it will be, like you said, a much more even playing field in TAPPS and SBC basketball. It makes it a lot more fun. I mean, super teams are fun to watch, but it kind of gets boring when you already know the outcome to all those games. Also, Walker, I want you to tell me, what were the words at the end of that video that you DM'd me on Twitter like 30 seconds ago?
St. Migos.
I'm telling you, what does St. Migos mean? Is it the rap group? So now we've got 2 more West rants I can screen cap and put on the No Context TXPS Twitter account. So you'll see those. I don't know. Was the St. Migos one a rant? I mean, the Pit Vipers was 100% a rant. I don't know if St. Migos was a rant more than just a question.
It's St. Michael's. I don't get it.
I just want to know if Migos means the Migos or if Migos has taken on another meeting.
The thing about it is
y'all sound like old men. That's
what I'm saying. It has to be the rap group.
If you dive into it, right? Like, because
I want to go all the way in.
It's St. Migos talked about St. Michael's in 2017. So this has been that around long for St. Migos.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is Migos. Okay, then it definitely is, Offset.
I guess. Wait, is Michael's Migos?
Definitely
I guess
is Offset. Just like how you just said that.
Mama.
We sound like old men. We sound like old men talking about the Migos.
At least I know the Migos. I mean, hell, that was when I was in high school. But really, since 2017, where'd you find that?
I just searched the hashtag St. Migos.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yet again, if anyone from St. Michael's can confirm that we are talking about St. Migos is in the rap group, or if I'm just completely speculating something wrong. Anyways, to wrap up, guys, we have anything else to mention from either of you before we get out of here?
Next episodes will be the district or division previews for us for football the upcoming season. So that'll be really fun to do. We're going to dive deep into each division, tabs D1, D2, 3, 4, and SBC.
Yeah, no, that'll be 6 weeks taking into account SBC. So we're going to have a lot of content rolling out. We're very excited. It's going to be very detailed, and we're excited to do it. It's just kind of building hype and generating momentum moving into football. And then you're going to see us going all out for football like we've done the last year and a half. So, I mean, we're very excited to present that to you. But barring any further comments from either of you, I think that wraps up episode. I think this is 41. Crazy that we've made that many up to this point. It's weird to think about.
Yep.
But that being said, I've been, as always, 1/3 of your hosting crew, Wes Tolleson. Walker Lott and Ryan Schroeder have fantastically been themselves. We will see you in episode 42, I think. See you later.
3, 2, 1.